1982. And we certainly have seen some memorable matches of the Raiders, some great wins here at Seaford, and we saw them beat the Broncos before a record home crowd only a matter of weeks ago. Well, we had a thunderstorm here at the ground about an hour and a half ago, and Richard Keeley is our man on the sideline. Fairly cold today, Richard. What's the conditions like?
Yes, cold and also wet, Peter. There's been a fair bit of rain. It's going to bring these two teams back. There's a lot of emotion down here on the sideline, being at the Raiders' last home game. Wet weather footballs will be in use, so the side that has the best kicking game and the best field position will come up with the premiership points this afternoon.
And vital points they will be too. The Raiders, in the 5 at the moment on percentage only, have to win to cement their place in the top 5. They also have to beat St George next week, and if they can, well, they're going to make the top 5. The referee, Graham Annesley, a tough referee. Won't take any back chat, as Mal Meninga told me not so long ago. If you talk back to Graham Annesley, you'll find yourself in the sin bin. Okay, there's the kick-off. And this all-important match for the Canberra Raiders starts off as Matthew Wood, the young winger, brings it up, and he's tackled about 15 metres out from his own line. Well, these conditions will probably suit the Illawarra Steelers a little bit more than the Raiders. They're a free-flowing team, aren't they, Mike O'Dwyer?
Certainly, Peter. I think it's a great level of the wet, as everyone seems to say. The Steelers will appreciate that. It may slow the Canberra backs down somewhat, but I'm expecting a good open game.
Okay, there's the kick downfield by Gary Belchure, taken by Tony Smith, a good young player. In fact, the Illawarra Steelers, a lot of the fans might know some of the names out there, but I can assure you they're all bristling with youthful exuberance and talent. Mike, you've been calling them all year. I know you've been impressed with some of them.
Certainly have. A player not playing today, Brett Rodwell, who has a shoulder injury, has been outstanding. But Dean Skiffaletti, Rod Wishart has been brilliant. Fraser Hammett in today too, very good as well.
Of course, Campbell Hugh up in number 10 is a player to watch. He's played for the Queensland State of Origin. Here's another player who's played for the Queensland State of Origin, Gary Belchure, and his form last week in Perth was magnificent.
Yes, Belcher's certainly one to watch. There's Ferguson now with it.
Ferguson almost slipped straight through. He's a man to watch. Electrifying runner when he gets in the clear. Probably one of the oldest first-grade players in the competition, but I would say over 50 metres, there wouldn't be too many who could get close to him. Goes the blind side now. Glenn Lazarus, just back after 3 weeks suspension, played a good game over in Perth. Ricky Stewart. Long kick back, and brilliantly taken by Tony Smith, the Illawarra fullback, and he runs it up. Can he get through Matthew Wood's tackle? No, he can't. He's taken about 45 metres out from his own try line. There's Lowry, the replacement second rower, Mark Lowry in 26 for the Raiders. He's played a couple of games while the international players were overseas. The Raiders internationals were overseas, and he did the most with his opportunities. He'd be keen to try and cement a permanent first-grade spot in the Raiders team. Watch for him. He's on the blind side at the moment. Skiffaletti, probably the find for Illawarra this season. A great young player. Long kick downfield, goes between Ferguson and Belcher. Skips back to Ferguson. He's slipping and sliding. Can he get around? He certainly can. Look at Johnny Ferguson go. Puts in the stop and goes again. Oh, great run, Johnny Ferguson. You can't get him half a yard, Tony Campbell.
Certainly can't, Peter. Well, good match so far, and it's the Raiders in possession about 30 metres out from their line. The ball to be played. This is Steve Walters. Fires the pass to Daly. Daly throws a terrible pass. Didn't go anywhere near Ferguson. Goes over the touch line, and a scrum will pack down midway between the half and the quarter line in the Raiders territory.
While we talk about Johnny Ferguson, we must mention the player who is marking him opposite, and that's Rod Wishart. Now, he's a player that's impressed me, Mike.
Yeah, Rod Wishart, a former Gerringong player, and he's just very, very strong. That's his best attribute, I guess.
Okay, it's a Steelers ball. Out it goes now. That's the centre three-quarter, which is Fritz. Runs into Meninga. Ball is played. This is Mark Nebb. Nebb puts the head down, but he's brought down about 30 metres out, over on the hillside of the field. Ball's played. Skiffaletti, Pinchinelli. Out it goes now. That's the 5/8 Hammond. Hammond has brought down about 27 metres out. He'll play the ball. The dummy half is Wishart. Got the pass away now, and tackled with the ball is Campbell Hugh, almost on the Raiders' 22-metre line. Walsh A loose pass. Regathered by Craig Keane for the Steelers. On the Raiders' 22-metre line. Bolt got the pass to Kissel. Puts the ball high into the air, but I think it's out on the full. It's out on the full. So we've had about almost 5 minutes of play, and 0-0 the score. Now it's the changeover. This is Coyne. Coyne brought down 27 metres out from his own line. Steve Walters dummy half. Got the pass, Stewart. On it goes to Lowry. Running strongly, Lowry. He's brought down 30 metres out. Play still in the Raiders' territory. Good run that time by Lance. Lance almost within about 11 metres of the halfway line. The ball goes back now. A good long kick by Stewart. Back down towards the Steelers' 22-metre line. It's picked up by Ebb. And Ebb is brought down in centre field on the 22-metre line. Ebb to play the ball. Smith dummy half. Skifferletti just outside his 22-metre line. Bolter's dummy half. Steelers in possession. Deep inside their own territory. They're about 30 metres out from their own try line. Ball to be played by Bolt. Plays it. On it goes to Walsh. Walsh brought down midway between the half and the quarter line. Plays the ball. Piccinelli. On it goes to Kissel. A little kick over the head. Can he regather? No, it's the Raiders back in possession. On the halfway line, Gary Coyne this is. Coyne plays the ball. Stewart dummy half. Clyde. Now this is O'Sullivan. Good run by O'Sullivan. Brought down 6 metres inside the Steelers' territory. Ball to be played. On it goes to Lowry. Lowry gains about 10 metres. Brought down midway between the half and the quarter line. Ball to be played. Walters working the blind side. That's Lance. Lance 28 metres out. O'Sullivan. Meninga. O'Sullivan on the run around. Still going O'Sullivan. A good run. One of the original Raiders O'Sullivan. This would be a sentimental day for him. The last tackle, and there's a penalty. The penalty goes to the Raiders about 28 metres out from the Steelers line.
Well, that's relieving for the Steelers. In fact, they've got time to settle down, even though the penalty went to the Raiders, and now they'll look to perhaps take a kick for goal.
I noticed they had a lot of trouble getting the goal over in Perth, Mike. Matthew Wood is taking the kicks. I asked Mal Meninga yesterday whether he was going to take the kicks. He told me he was, but obviously there's been a change of heart in the sheds. That's right. There was some good play there from the Raiders. You saw some good backing up, and they worked the blind well. And they've come up with the penalty. The Steelers, that's been their problem all year. In fact, I think just letting easy penalties go like that puts them under a lot of pressure early. Certainly does. Matthew Wood kicked 6 out of 7 against the Gold Coast 2 weeks ago in that tremendous victory the Raiders had. Of course, the Gold Coast came out and did them a favour yesterday, or on Friday night, should I say, by beating Cronulla. Well, Wood now, he sets himself. Moves in now. Hits it pretty sweetly. It's going away to the right. It hits the post, in fact, bounces back in play. Cavill Hughes, the man that comes up with it. He gets a pass out to Martin Ebb. Ebb plays the ball. That's Fritz in the dummy half, right on the 22. Morrissey now brings it out. Michael Bolt. His 151st first-grade game today. That's Cavill Hughes with the ball. Bolt in again. He gives it to a kicker, this time Tony Smith, who boots the ball left-footed downfield. Wood coming across. He picks it up and meets the Steelers' defence. There's plenty of tacklers there on that one. Belchure in a dummy half. Good chases there, Mike. Yes, it was a good move by the Steelers there, but now the Raiders with the ball. Ferguson's got it. He's dancing away. He tries to get away from Piccinelli. They're swinging around. Looked a bit like a square dance there for a while. Now Clyde brings it up strongly. It's good to see him back out on the field too. I was a little worried about him in Perth. Lance now, that pass looked forward, but it's play on. Plenty of strong work in the tackles. Well, that was a slow pass from Walters, a dummy half. By the time he got the ball across to Lance, the man was right up on top of him. Well, there's Meninga now. He's given it to Belchure in the back line. But the defence holds. They certainly look very dangerous, the green machine out wide. Meninga now kicks for touch. Won't find it.
He's found Tony Smith. He brings it back strongly. Gets round Clyde. But he can't get round the big man Lazarus. And Laurie Daly in over the top. Ebb gives it to Wishart. This is his first run, and as usual, takes it right under the defence.
There's no sidestepping with his runs. He goes straight at them like a bull at a gate.
He certainly does. Michael Bolt. Now Walsh has had an outstanding season, and he's probably the main contender for the Steelers' big medal, the Steg Bar medal at the end of the year, I'm sure. The best and fairest first-grade player.
Yeah, he's been an inspiration, Walsh, all year. There's nothing, I suppose, spectacular about his running. He's straight up and down, but whenever they've needed to gain yards, Walsh has been the man to take it up.
Well, there's Kissel now with the kick downfield. Again, he's found Wood. And Wood goes round and picks the ball up. Belchure moving into dummy half. Decides he'll go himself. Running across field at the moment. Lays it off onto O'Sullivan, who straightens up. And he's been well tackled, little Chris O'Sullivan. Ran into a scarlet wall. Stewart now with the ball. Back inside to Lance. He gives it to Meninga in a bit of space. Now it goes on to Walters, racing downfield. He's got no one with him. Trying to link up, he finds Belchure. Belchure across field, gives it to Clyde. They're throwing it about a bit. Clyde dummies, he's going himself onto Walters. Gets a pass out to Wood. And the ball looks like it's been knocked on.
Well, some brilliant play from the Raiders to show just what sort of attack they can mount. They really threw it about. Some great running from, first of all, here goes Walters, who was in the gap, as you said, Mike. No support. Finally found Belchure coming up. He offloaded it and goes to Clyde. Clyde throws back to Walters, and the pass, well, I thought the pass went forward anyway, so it didn't really matter even if he couldn't half volley it.
It was great play, though.
Now it's the Steelers in possession about 25 metres out from their own line in centre field. Still 0-0 the score. There's a loose pass. Picked up by Hammett. He got the pass away. And it's the Steelers 25 metres out. Ball to be played. This is Bolt. And Bolt is brought down in a good tackle. 30 metres out from his own line. Steelers in possession. On it goes to Cavill Hugh, running strongly. A good run by Hugh. Brought down about 2 or 3 metres short of halfway. 10 metres in from touch on the grandstand side. This is Smith, kicking deep, back down towards the 22-metre line. Turns Belchure around. The ball goes right down to the try line almost. Picked up by Belchure. Belchure gets around one. Good tackle, though, and he's brought down about 11 metres out by Piccinelli. Ball to be played. Ferguson. Wood this is. Wood tried to go through the gap, but it closed up very quickly indeed. In centre field. Meninga now. And Meninga. He's brought down 3 of the Illawarra defenders there to bring him down just outside his 22-metre line.
Dean Skiffaletti threw a high one. Unfortunately, Mail got underneath it.
That's Lowry. Lowry brought down by Walsh. And also Hammond. Kicked through by Stewart. Back down towards the Steelers' 22-metre line. Tony Smith back to receive it. Got the pass to Ebb. Ebb is bundled to the ground. He'll play the ball. Smith. Now Wishart this is, and Wishart is brought down about 30 metres out from his own try line. Almost in centre field. Steelers in possession. And this is Morrissey now. Morrissey midway between the half and the quarter line. He'll play the ball. Bolt is dummy half. Skiffaletti. And Skiffaletti is bundled to the ground 10 metres short of halfway. Still no score in this match. We've had about 13 minutes of play. Working the blind side, Smith. And Smith did well to stay in field that time. He'll play the ball. Out it goes to Kissel, who kicks downfield. This isn't a bad looking kick. Will it find touch? It's in the in-goal area. Finally goes touch in goal.
Okay, we'll go to a commercial break. Score here, 0-0.
He's in a time.
Welcome back to Seaford Oval. Still no score. The Raiders with the ball. Clyde now takes on the Steelers' defence. And a good tackle too from Trevor Kissel. Put him to the ground. Walters in a dummy half. Scampers away. Gets a pass one-handed to Gary Belchure. They're a metre in Steelers' territory, and that's 5 for the Raiders. Walters now gives it on to Stewart. He kicks it downfield. A great-looking kick. It's a beauty. 10 metres out, Ricky Stewart. You see the work there from Stewart. A great piece of play.
Well, Ricky Stewart has put a lot of practice in this week to his kicking. He was a little bit disappointed with his efforts over in Perth, but he did say it was an unusual ball they were using over there. It was a longer type of football, but nonetheless, he's shown his dedication to the game by putting extra practice into it.
Well, it's a Steelers scrum win, and Smith comes up with it, and O'Sullivan does the work on him. Kissel now gives it on to Keane. For our viewers on the south coast, he's from Albion Park. Craig Keane played in the Group 7 competition. Walsh now with a strong run.
He always makes 10 metres, Mike, doesn't he?
Very good. He's a mailman. He delivers, that boy. Cavalier out there, who plays the ball. Pinchinelli goes in for it, gets a pass to Kissel, who's doing a lot of kicking, and again they found Belchure out of position, but Ferguson will get down there and he'll pick the ball up on his 22. This could be danger. Ferguson trying to get round Morrissey, and the former Canberra Raider, along with Fraser Hammett, does the tackle on Chica. Daly in a dummy half. Gives a good ball away to Clyde. He's very damaging Bradley Clyde. On to Walters now. He gives it to Belchure. Belchure going ahead, drops it to the toe. Still going, Gary Belchure. Plenty of Steelers there, and a great piece of play from Pinchinelli. Cleaned that up. And danger.
Well, they're dangerous every time they start to move that ball around the Raiders. That time, Bradley Clyde really hit the ball up close up the ruck and just pushed the tacklers away. Tremendous strength, this 19-year-old block, and what a future he's got.
And so too Gary Belchure getting involved there as well. See Belchure in position now. The Steelers working it out again. Certainly withstood some early pressure from the Raiders. Bolt, he'll give to Smith, and that's been touched. And Wood comes up with it and been pushed into touch. Well, that was good work for the Steelers. At least they've got a scrum. Tony Smith, the brother of former Steelers coach Brian Smith. You can see it on the replay here. A good tackle from Fritz that put Wood into touch, and the Steelers have the feed.
Okay, well, the sun's starting to come out here at Seaford Oval after that thunderstorm. In fact, it hailed here earlier on. Richard Keeley's down the sideline. He'd be appreciating the sun. I know you've got someone to talk to.
Peter, you wouldn't believe it. It's like Club Med Tahiti down here at the moment. Absolutely sensational. With me on the sideline at the moment, Des Byrne, the promotions and marketing man for the Raiders. Des, the last game here at Seaford Oval for the Raiders, the big move to Bruce Stadium next year. What can the fans look forward to?
Probably in three areas things will improve. Certainly for the players, the guys out there are putting up with a lot of mud out there. I don't say that we'll ever have any money games out there, but the dressing room facilities are absolutely magnificent at Bruce Stadium. Additionally, for the public, we'll have better concessions out there. They've already started work on that. And also, we see that for the sponsors, there's already work commenced out there. They've taken the middle right out of the grandstand to put more sponsor boxes in there, and of course that's good for everybody because it brings more dollars into the team.
That's right, Des, and just before we go back to Peter, speaking of sponsors, Woodges won't be major sponsors of the Raiders next year. What's the latest on that?
Well, actually, contrary to all the talk in the media about us having negotiated with Reebok, State Bank, Jerrabomber Estates, all sorts of people, none of whom we've even talked to, we've actually at the start of the campaign to find a major sponsor, and at this stage we've written to about 300 or 400 major companies in Australia. We start advertising next week in financial magazines. I think we start with a Financial Review, and not long thereafter we should be able to find a major sponsor that's suitable for us. And in fact, John McIntyre and I are going down to Sydney next week to speak with a couple of companies who've already expressed interest.
Right, can you let us know who would be favourite at this stage?
Oh, I couldn't let you into too much, mate. There's a couple of local companies who are already involved with us at this time, but there are several companies who also have an activity locally but are really national companies, and it's hoped that they'll firm up on their interest, and it'll be a tender case where we can take the best bid.
Right, he's not letting the cat out of the bag. Back to you, Peter Chapman.
He certainly isn't. We don't know. We're none the wiser as to who's going to be on the Raiders jumper next year. We do know it's not going to be Woodges, though. Well, we've noticed in the last few minutes of play that the ball has been knocked on, and I must say, Mike, the ball must be getting very greasy with these sort of conditions.
It certainly is. It's just enough to bother you, and there's plenty of mud on the players as the ball, but I think both sides really trying to get on top of each other in this early stage and having a lot of difficulty. There's some good defence out there.
And it's the Steelers in possession. They're about 9 metres inside the Raiders' territory. The ball is played. That's Michael Bolts. 10 metres inside the Raiders' territory. Still 0-all the score, and we're almost midway through the first half. Ball is played. Hammond got the pass away then to Morrissey. Morrissey brought down about 7 or 8 metres inside the Raiders' territory. 1 tackle to go. The ball was played and passed on. It goes to Kissel. Puts the ball into the air. Goes back towards the Raiders' try line. Goes in goal now. And this is Wood. Matthew Wood brought down 10 metres out from his try line. Over on the far side of the field. Plays the ball. Belchure dummy half. Belchure runs into the defence of the Steelers. He's brought down 11 metres out. Ball is played. Walters, Stewart, and this is Lazarus. Lazarus brought down 13 metres out from his try line by Piccinelli. This is Gary Coyne. Offloads the pass to Lance. Lance gets to the quarter line. In centre field, he'll play the ball. Walters, Stewart. Stewart puts the ball high into the air, back over the halfway line. Goes over there on the far side of the field. It'll be picked up over there by Ebb. And this is Martin Ebb. And he's brought down 30 metres out from his line. In centre field. Plays the ball. Smith dummy half. From Morrissey. On it goes now to Fritz. And Fritz brought down almost midway between the half and the quarter line. He'll play the ball. Morrissey running strongly onto the ball. A good run by Morrissey. Back up towards halfway. Right on halfway, in fact. And that's where he'll play the ball. Still no score. On it goes to Cavill Hugh. Hugh is brought down by Steve Walters and also Stewart going down low. Ball is played. Offside, though. The penalty goes to the Steelers midway between the half and the quarter line. Down inside the Raiders' territory.
An important penalty, that one too. It means the Steelers will now be able to really get in close to the Raiders' goal line. Well, coming up to the 5th tackle, they've now got the penalty. In fact, they're going to take a shot for goal, so they're fairly confident. And I'd say early points are going to be crucial in this match. We've had about 22 minutes of the game so far. 0-all the scoreline here at Seaford. The swan song for the Raiders. Last time they're going to take the turf at Queanbeyan. A lot of people I've noticed walking around with black armbands on. And I'm also told if anyone wants to come out here and souvenir, forget it, because there's extra security on at the ground tonight. And a Cumberland is not going to happen here. That's the word from the management of the Raiders. They want to leave Queanbeyan as it was. A great venue for rugby league, and talking about a great venue, it's a pleasure to broadcast from here. Ideal situation. Laurie Daly getting some magic spray on his thigh as...
I just wonder now whether Wishart can put the first points on the board, Peter.
Well, here he goes. This is a difficult kick, about 40 metres out, straight in front. It looks like it might drop short. Will it? Yes, just to the right of the post, and taken by Gary Belchure. Belchure brings it up about 18 metres out from his own try line. Well, the Raiders now having to work play out of their own half as it goes to Bradley Clyde. The slippery conditions here, as we mentioned, hailstorm about 2 hours ago, has really turned the field into an ice paddock. And the penalty now has gone against the Steelers for being inside the 5. So a bit of touch for touch there. An important penalty win against the Raiders earlier on. Unfortunately, Wishart couldn't put the points on the board. We saw Matthew Wood has had an attempted goal, so we've had 2 attempts so far. 1 from either side, but still the scoreboard attendant hasn't been off his chair.
Peter, there must be a lot going through the Raiders' minds, I'd say, up there. I don't think we can estimate just what would be going through their minds, just how important this match is for them today.
Well, if they don't win this game, I think they're out of the competition. Now, Illawarra, of course, are right down the bottom. They've only had 2 wins and a draw. They got a draw last week. Should have beaten Eastern Suburbs, but nonetheless they didn't. So Illawarra have got everything to play for, and of course, and nothing to lose. The Raiders got everything to play for and everything to lose. As it goes to Bradley Clyde, the Raiders with an attacking opportunity now. Belchure in a dummy half. Stewart, O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan comes off the side of his boot, but almost a great intercept there by Ferguson. Well, the kick came off O'Sullivan's boot. The scrum will be put down now. We'll go to a break.
Back, still 0-all here at Seaford Oval, but the Raiders have come up with the ball through Coyne, and he throws a pass to Lazarus. Looks like he got a hand on it. It went back, says referee Annesley, and Stewart now with the ball. Walters in a dummy half, gives it on to Lowry. The Raiders are set fairly deep. The ball will go to Stewart, on to O'Sullivan. Long pass. It's almost intercepted by Kissel. Certainly that second pass wasn't on, and Trevor Kissel could have been racing downfield. Still, the Raiders still have it, and there's a penalty.
Well, that was never on. I could see the intercept coming. I thought he was gone. Maybe if the ball hadn't been slippery, he would have been gone. Watch it on the replay now. That comes across. Now Kissel's there, waiting for the pass. Oh,
would have been shut the gate.
Certainly would have been shut the gate. 50 metres out on the slippery paddock. No one could have turned and chased.
Well, Stewart makes sure that he puts the ball well into touch. They're about 25 metres or so out, the Raiders. Walters will take the tap. Goes on to Lazarus. An outstanding young front rower. Here's Lowry. He didn't get it. Stewart one-handed grabbed the ball in. Walters gives it on to Coyne. Back to Walters. And a bad pass. Too hard and too high. Ferguson's had to do the cleaning up. And the pass to twins. Pinchinelli and Skiffletti look after Ferguson. There's Lazarus. Walters again gives it on to O'Sullivan. Meninga this time kicks the ball downfield. And Tony Smith takes it well. He'll have to run the ball back. Tries to get round Lance. He does that quite easily. Daly's chasing across field. And a good tackle from Laurie Daly.
Well, Smith almost was able to take that ball on the full. In fact, there's only about half a step infield. And if he hadn't been able to take it on the full in goal, of course, it would have come back to a 22 tap.
Pinchinelli now running the ball out. Well tackled again. Laurie Daly. They say he doesn't like playing in the lock role, but he's out in the centres today, of course. There was some talk of him playing lock, Peter.
Yes, there was. I know Laurie Daly's not real keen about it.
Made a couple of good lock forward tackles just then. Here's Ebb down the far touchline. And a desperation dive by Meninga put him into touch. Could have been something there. Martin Ebb quite fleet of foot.
Score still 0-0, 25, in fact 26 minutes gone in the first half here, and to me the Raiders don't seem desperate enough, Tony.
They're looking rather tentative to me, Peter.
Richard Keeley on the sideline.
They may be trying too hard, I think.
Is there much talk with the Raiders, Richard?
Well, I'm starting to think that the longer this game goes, the better chance Illawarra have. I mean, we've already seen a couple of huge upsets this weekend already.
Well, I'm sure the Raiders supporters would have expected their side to have points on the board by this, Peter.
I think one of the things that's upsetting the Raiders is they have a pattern of play, and that pattern involves Brent Todd and Glenn Lazarus. They take turns virtually in bringing the ball up and making yardage in the ruck. Now, Lazarus is out there by himself today. Larry's had a couple of runs, but one of the other players has really got to just be running straight and hard.
Well, see, they've got all this added pressure on their mind. They know they've got to win the match, and also the pressure of it being the last match here at Seaford Oval. But nevertheless, let's see now as the Steelers, they're in possession. Just outside the Raiders' 22-metre line, working the blind side, it goes to Skiffletti. A little flick pass back, it's on the ground, but dived on, and it's Bolt with the ball now, and Bolt has brought down about 30 metres out from the Raiders' line. The score, 0-0, a kick through by Kissel. It goes back down towards the Raiders' try line. This is Johnny Ferguson. He picks it up a few metres out from his own line. Tries to go through the gap. He was almost through, but he's brought down about 15 metres out in a tackle by Hammond. Ball is played. Now this is Belchure. Can Belchure do something? He saw half a gap, but it closed up very quickly, and he's brought down about 15 metres out from his own line. Well, the Steelers are doing a pretty good job here today against the Raiders. They're not giving them much room to move, and the Raiders are finding it very difficult to break through. The ball is played. Now it goes back. Stewart. This is O'Sullivan. He props. It goes back the other way, through a little bit of a dummy, but he decided to hold onto the ball, and he's brought down 27 metres out from his line, almost in centre field. Coyne offloads the pass to Stewart. Now here's another kick by Stewart. Will it find touch? I don't think so. No, Smith is back there to receive the ball, just outside his quarter. Smith runs across field, straightens up. Still going, Smith. Good run by Smith. Back up towards halfway. Good run by Smith. He's brought down about 2 metres short of halfway. Plays the ball back. Bolter's dummy half. On it goes to Skiffletti. And Skiffletti is brought down about a half a metre or so inside the Raiders' territory. He'll play the ball there. And it's the Steelers. They're back down inside the Raiders' territory now. They're putting up a pretty good performance here so far. We've had about 28 minutes of play. Oh, goodness gracious me. Was that a tackle?
Wouldn't that
a tackle?
Rock your back teeth, Tony.
That would have snapped Michael O'Dwyer clean in half, I'd say.
Now you know why they want to play Laurie Daly at lock. Look at this tackle.
Goodness gracious me. Anyhow, there's a kick through. Now the ball goes back down towards, it goes inside the in-goal area, but it's a bit too strong. It goes over the dead ball line.
What
That
a
was
tackle.
a huge tackle.
There is Laurie Daly, but we'll take a break. Still 0-0 here at Seaford Oval.
Well, we've just seen a knock on by the Steelers, and the scrum will be set about 40 metres out from the Raiders line. 30 minutes gone and a half so far, and still a 0-0 scoreline here at Seaford Oval. The final match for the Raiders on this turf. Can they make it a victorious final match? Well, we'll know in about another 50 minutes as Chris O'Sullivan takes the ball up towards halfway. Ricky Stewart calling his troops. He's got numbers on his right, but he's gone left. Tries a beautiful pass to Belchure, but Belchure can't get through, stands up, decides to go down and take the tackle. Walters back down the open side to Lowry, who comes across the face of the ruck. Skiffaletti, the tackler.
He's doing a pair of work, that Skiffaletti.
Oh, he's a great player. In fact, I was going to say that I think Skiffaletti, if he continues on in the same vein, improving in the manner he is, I believe he'll play for Australia one day. Only very young at the moment. As we see Laurie Daly chasing through a kick of Belchure, but the ball goes anywhere. Belcher's going to reclaim it, is he? Yes, he is. And he's been ruled offside in that he pushed Skiffaletti away from the ball. So he interfered with a player without the ball, and the penalty goes to the Illawarra Steelers. Annesley doing a good job here this afternoon. Maybe some of the Raiders supporters would disagree with me there. There's the penalty. We'll resume with a tap about 45 metres out.
Chris Walsh brings the ball up strongly for the Steelers. Laurie Daly in there again, kamikaze style. Cavalier now with the ball. The crowd saying I went forward, but it's play on.
Marginally.
Morrissey now. And the defence out there, very strong indeed.
Well, start to get a little bit of urgency in their play now, Mike.
Well, they need to, Peter.
Certainly
They need
do
to.
at 0-0.
There's a long pass from Hammett out to Ebb, well taken. I think we've got to look forward, from a Raiders point of view, of their little men to start doing a bit more of the O'Sullivan, Stewarts, and so on.
They're not allowed to do any more, Michael.
It's been good defence so far by Illawarra. Let's see how the defence will hold out now.
Well, it's Lance now with the ball. He brings it back. Chris Walsh does the big Milton monster over the top of Lance. It's a switch by Stewart. Goes to Lowry. And they're almost on halfway, the Canberra Raiders. Clyde now.
Dreadful played the ball. See how slow that was. By the time Clyde got up there, he had to virtually change back to first gear.
Well, it's a kick now from O'Sullivan. He tries to get it over Wishart. He certainly does. A fine kick. And they're about 10 or so metres out from the Steelers' try line. Rod Wishart, he couldn't really do anything in that situation. You see it here on the head-on. And O'Sullivan did everything right and put it into touch.
Yes, I'm sure O'Sullivan would be looking for a big game here today, one of the original Raiders. Okay, the scrum goes down about 12 metres out from the Steelers line. It's a Steelers feed, and Trevor Kissel will feed the ball into the scrum. Steelers ball. That's Wishart. He runs into a lot of trouble. He's brought down inside his 22-metre line. Ball is played. Skiffaletti looks for support, couldn't get the pass away, and he's brought down in a good tackle.
Raiders have no fullback at the moment.
On it goes now to Bolt. Michael Bolt, 27 metres out from his own line. In centre field, still no score in this match. And we're coming up to within about 8 minutes of play in the first half. Now it's a Raiders ball. Dean Lance this is. Lance looks for support. Got it away. And it's Daly. Daly will play the ball. Ferguson dummy half. Fergo has a run. Tries to go through the gap. Puts the head down. And he's brought down just outside the Steelers' 22-metre line. Walters dummy half, but offside. Well, here's a chance for the first points of the match. Steelers offside. The penalty goes to the Raiders.
There was no doubt about Bolt was offside, but I think that was a professional foul. Bolt knew the Raiders had their backs set deep. Meninga back there about 40 yards out, and they would have crashed onto that ball. I think we might have seen a Raiders try, but nonetheless, we might see the first points in the match with Matthew Wood coming up for the kick.
We've got about 6.5 minutes of play left in this match as the sun streams down here at Seaford Oval. This would be similar weather to wonderful Wollongong, Michael, I suppose.
Yes, as Richard Keeley said before, Tahiti, well, I've got 2 jumpers on though, Tone. I tell you what.
I think I prefer Wollongong to Tahiti.
Well, that's right, Wollongong. Of course, the crowd here appreciating it. The last game for them at Seaford.
Well, there they are. Look at them. Smiles on their faces.
Matthew Wood coming up. Position the kick.
Peter Chapman, one would expect Mal Meninga would need to get a little bit more involved in this game for the Raiders to pick up the points.
Well, this is what I can understand. I mean, we saw in Perth that until Mal Meninga became heavily involved in the game, the Raiders were struggling.
In the second half.
In the second half, that's right, Tony, when Mal Meninga started to make a few big busting runs, drawing in the defence, then the Raiders looked good.
Well, Matthew Wood, he's got a lot of responsibility on his shoulder because every point is vital in this game. Now there's the kick. It's there, and at last there are points on the board. 5 minutes of play left in the first half. Canberra 2, Illawarra 0. Let's take a break.
Well, the scoreline 2-0 in favour of the Raiders. A long way to go in this match. About 4 minutes before half-time, the Raiders bringing the ball out through Glenn Lazarus. As we mentioned before, Brent Todd, his prop partner, his hard-running partner, is off the field injured. The Raiders are probably feeling that to some degree, Mike.
I think so. I'm a big fan of Brent Todd. He's a tremendous player, and when fit and on the field, very damaging. Peter, it was mentioned to me last week by one of the Steelers stalwarts. He said, have you ever seen a side so good running in last position? And it's probably a good point. They're not really getting buildings each week, but they've got some great young players, but they're in last position.
Well, they certainly are. You'd like to be able to poach a couple of top players. If you put Mal Meninga and Gary Belchure across into the side and maybe Brent Todd, you'd have a very good Illawarra team. But, of course, they were in the green. So we're really fantasising as far as Illawarra supporters are concerned. But it is true, they haven't been disgraced this year.
No, that's right. They've copped a couple of hidings. One from Canberra in the first round, as we said earlier, 44-8. And the same against Eastern Suburbs in the first round. But generally, the second round has been very close. Well, there's a penalty. We're offside.
Well, I think the main thing, Michael, is there's plenty of club spirit with the Steelers side, no doubt.
Commitment, I think, is the key, Tony. That if their commitment had dropped off, they would have been getting belted each week. But Ron Hilditch said right throughout the season, there's plenty of commitment there. They just haven't been able to put it into practice on the field.
Have they got any buys for next year, Mike?
At this stage, no. They've based their financial situation on retaining players, those young players like the Wishards, Rodwells, Skifflettis and so on, and that's probably a good move at this stage. The 2 Englishmen, well, they've got to think about those two. They come back round 9, which could be money well spent on a big player at the start of the season.
Well, that's what I think they should do, but are there many players available? That's the question. Anyway, back to the ball game now. 2-0 the Raiders lead here. A couple of minutes left in the first half. And the Raiders still inside their own half as it comes across to Lazarus. And he runs hard and straight and takes it up to the halfway line. More of that. That's what the Raiders need if they want to get right on top in this game. As Walters finds a break up the centre and he goes through. No support close to him on the 5th, the Raiders. They should hoist it high. Look for Ricky Stewart on the blind side. Goes to Stewart. Will it be a chip kick? Yes, it is. Is he going to get the bounce? Smith's there trying to cover, and Smith covers brilliantly. He's had a good game back at fullback, Tony Smith, throughout this match, and it's a difficult day for fullbacks with this slippery, greasy ball, and that's just how greasy it is. Gary Coyne's going for the line. He's tackled 5 metres out. On the far side, Ebb desperately calling his players out. Goes to Stewart. Stewart cut out pass to O'Sullivan. He was tackled strongly about 18 metres out from his line. Lowry at dummy half. Goes to Dean Lance running straight. He's tackled. The Raiders now, their best opportunity to put points further on the board as it goes to Stewart. Jinks goes back inside, links up with O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan still going, almost straight through, metre out from the line. He'll play the ball.
I'm sure O'Sullivan would love to score a try in this match, Peter.
He certainly would. He's been there from the beginning. It goes to Meninga. Wood. Oh, the pass was knocked down. I think you'll find the ball was knocked down by Illawarra. In fact, it was. He's called a knock-on, so the scrum will be put down 15 metres out from the Illawarra line with the Raiders to feed.
Well, Peter, you can see it on the head-on here. Absolutely shut the gate if this pass found its mark, but was knocked down, and that was relief for the Steelers. Good play by the Raiders.
Yes, good play by the Raiders and good defence by Illawarra too. Well, here goes another chance, another Raiders opportunity as it goes to, as another, it's a penalty. Is Daly going to take the quick tap? Well, he's been told not to take it, and he's pretty upset. Ricky Stewart came over and told him not to take the quick tap. And we'll just see what's going to happen.
You might remember that Souths game in Sydney we covered, Peter.
Yes.
Laurie Daly took the quick tap and came up with a 4-pointer.
He certainly did come up with a 4-pointer. And, of course, they can't take the kick for goal because this came from a scrum penalty. It goes to Stewart. Stewart puts it up. It's got ice on it as it comes down. Watch for it. Whose ball is it? Is it a try? No! The ball was knocked on, according to referee Annesley. And it's half-time here at Seaford Oval. The scoreline, Canberra just in front, 2-0 over the Illawarra Steelers. Welcome back to Seaford Oval, the second half of this match. The Raiders in front over Illawarra, 2-0, and the Raiders are on the paddock. We're waiting for the Steelers to come back on. The statistics of the first half. Scrums went 7-2 in favour of the Steelers. Penalties went the Raiders' way, 5-4. Missed tackles, 12 the Raiders, 10 to the Steelers. Handling errors, and not a bad number either in these very treacherous conditions. 6 against the Steelers and 5 against the Canberra Raiders. Thanks, John Mortimer, or Chuck as we know him, our statistician. He's doing all the work for us, keeping us in touch with this game, and let's hope we see a lot more of Mal Meninga in this second half. Mike O'Dwyer in the first half, he was extremely quiet.
Yeah, Mal certainly was. He's a player that can, you know, fire them up definitely.
Okay, any changes, Richard Keeley, for the second half?
Yep, one change, Peter. Ian Russell, he's going to take his place on the paddock in 41, replacing number 13, Craig Keane. I spoke to Ron Hilditch just moments ago. He said, don't panic. He doesn't care if they don't win it until with 2 minutes to go. Tim Sheens, he wanted Meninga to get more involved in the game. Also, he said to Ricky Stewart, he wanted to see a big kicking game from him in the first half and not to push the passes.
Okay, well, Ian Russell, I believe, is the best ball player in the Illawarra club. He's a great attacker. That's him with the clean shorts on. He went through the gap then. Unfortunately, Walsh wasn't able to slip the pass to him. Watch for Russell. He's a great man with the ball. I was quite shocked that he wasn't in the team, Mike O'Dwyer.
Yeah, well, Russell certainly is a very good player. He's had an ankle injury for this latter part of the season, but watch him. If he gets into a bit of space, he can create plenty of opportunities. Just getting back to Meninga too, Peter, I think it was evident when they were over in Perth playing Canterbury. His second half performance there was tremendous. He came onto that pass of Henja and livened the team up, and really is a match winner. So we've got to see more of him.
Yeah, he's a match winner, and also Bradley Clive. We didn't see much of Bradley in the first half. Let's see if those players can be match winners, all of them. In fact, the Canberra Raiders bristle with match winners. This is one of them. Gary Belchure gets it to Meninga. O'Sullivan on the inside, and he's put down in the tackle about 30 metres out from the Illawarra line. Meninga at dummy half. He throws the ball to Stewart. Stewart cut out pass to Daly. A beautiful pass and well taken by Daly, but Daly can't keep his feet. That's the fifth tackle. The ball will be hoisted here by Stewart. Now it goes to Meninga. Meninga cut out pass to Belcher. They're running on the sixth tackle this time. Goes to Wood. It's a double tackle. And a good one too from Neil Piccinelli.
Peter, we've got the crowd here today at 6,161 spectators.
Oh, that's not a bad crowd considering that thunderstorm we had when in fact it hailed here 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago to be precise. Just a few minutes gone in the second half. The scoreline 2-0. The Raiders in front. They have to win this game if they hope to figure in the finals this season.
And the first 10 minutes of the second half's most vital too.
Certainly is most vital. The Raiders battling for survival. Illawarra battling for some lost prestige. Goes to that man Russell. Watch him. He's a great player. He's given half a gap. He'll make the break. Fifth tackle now. Kissel. Kissel kicks in between Woods and Belcher. They kicked a lot to Ferguson in the first half. That wasn't good news. Wasn't a good idea anyway. Ferguson almost made a number of breaks. I'd say that might have been one of the other points Ron Hilditch brought up at half-time. Kick away from Ferguson. Matthew Woods, the inexperienced winger out there. Try and put the pressure on him. Stewart. Fresh jumpers for the second half. For the Raiders, Coyne takes it up. tackled about 30 metres out from his own try line. Goes to Lazarus. It's been good defence by the Steelers.
Certainly has.
Bolt's a noted defender, the veteran hooker of the side, and that's good pressure there by Pinchinelli. And it goes to Ebb. Ebb's got plenty of pace, but he can't get around Matthew Wood. Meninga comes in to lend assistance in the tackle. Skipperletti to Russell. Russell looks for the gap, slips, taken by Coyne in centre field. They should go to the blind side, in fact they do. And it goes to Morrissey, the former Raiders player. Played a number of games on this oval. Seaford. Next year it will be the Raiders at Bruce. What a vital game to finish off their time here at Queanbeyan.
They're looking good, the Steelers. They're throwing the ball around well.
They're not being put down. The tackle here, Fraser Habbott's able to get away to Russell. But piggybacking him is Lowry. He goes over the top. O'Sullivan finally stops Russell from clearing the ball away. Comes down the blind side to Kissel. Kicks well for the sideline. Will it go out? Oh. Yes, it will. It's a magnificent kick. Goes out about 12 inches from the corner flag.
What's that in metres?
In metres, that's about, let's say, less than half a metre.
Now this scrum goes down. 9 metres out. Ball to be fed in by Ricky Stewart. Coming up to within 5 minutes of play gone in the second half. Belchure tried to go through the gap, but he's brought down by Skipperletti and Pinchinelli. 10 metres out from the Raiders line. They're in possession. Oh, a bit of a fumble there.
Tony, the Raiders look certainly rattled at the moment, don't they?
Well, they certainly do, Michael. This is Bradley Clyde. And he's brought down about 16 metres out from his own line. Walters dummy half. Gary Coyne. And Coyne is brought down inside his 22-metre line. Dean Lance running stoutly onto the ball.
That's the sort of run they've got to have. They haven't had a man who's prepared to take it up hard and straight.
Working the blind side as Coyne. On it goes to Daly. Daly got the pass to Ferguson, but the defence was up on Ferguson very quickly on that occasion, and he's brought down inside his own half by about 2 or 3 metres. Ball is played. Stewart kicks for touch, turns them around. A good kick by Stewart, putting the pressure back on the Steelers now, Michael.
Certainly, Tony, that was great work there. You saw Coyne and the big forwards running up, Lance and so on. That's what they've got to have if they, even hope to cross the line.
Well, we saw the strong run from Lance, and then all of a sudden they had Illawarra backpedaling, and we saw a good attacking raid then come from Daly because the opportunity was created. Unless the forwards get over that advantage line and turn the opposition forwards around, we're not going to see any breaks from the Raiders.
The Steelers with it now. They're just over 20. They're 22, and Skipletti's gone into dummy half. He gives it on to Hugh. Cameron Hugh spins, still going, a strong run from him. He's making his way over to the old guard at the end of this season. Certainly a fine ball player, Campbell Hugh. There's Russell with it. Still going, pushes Stewart out of the way, but he can't get round Lazarus. Bolt now. On to Kissel. Kissel looks for a runner, a long pass out to Martin Ebb. Play on, and Ebb racing downfield, gets one inside to Fraser Hammett, back on the Fritz, it's been knocked down. Play on, Skipletti's got it, he's going for the line, and been pushed into touch. Well, there was certainly some fantastic play in that.
Well, unlucky not to score, but let's go back to the initial pass when Ebb created the break on the touchline. Ball went at least half a yard forward, if not a full yard, which is almost a metre in proper terminology.
Thank you.
Well, here it is. You can see it there. Ebb hit it at full speed. That's some good work by the Steelers. They're down in...
Well picked up there.
That's Skipperletti again. He's a dangerous player, and he almost scored.
Well, they're under extreme pressure, the Raiders. Now this is Daly. 10 metres out. He'll play the ball. Belchure dummy half. Dean Lance. Dean Lance has brought down 16 metres out from his line. The score 2-0. And here's a penalty.
And didn't they need that penalty? The Raiders were on the rack down here. This is going to get them well and truly into the Steelers' territory.
So the penalty goes to the Raiders on their quarter line. Ricky Stewart will kick for touch. Here's Stewart. Puts the boot to the ball. Finds touch, 10 metres short of halfway. Over on the hillside of the field. Tap kick to be taken. Wallace. Lazarus. With the defence up very quickly. Kitchenelli was there. And also Campbell-Hugh, 10 metres inside the Raiders territory. They're in possession. Gary Coyne. Coyne gets to within about a metre or so of the halfway line. Plays the ball. Working the blind side, Stewart. On it goes to Clyde. Clyde over the halfway line. Brought down about a metre or so inside the Steelers territory. Ball's played. Working the blind side, Stewart. Little flick pass back to Coyne. And Coyne is about 8 metres inside the Steelers half. Over on the hillside. Down it goes to O'Sullivan. Meninga. Well picked up. Matthew Wood back inside. Raiders back down inside the Steelers territory. One tackle to go now. Matthew Wood is dummy half. 5 metres inside the Steelers territory. Stewart. An overhead pass to Daly. Daly tried to put in a little kick, but it goes straight from the arms of the Steelers, and they're back in possession. 10 metres inside their own half. This is Morrissey. Morrissey brought down about 2 metres short of halfway.
Well, they're just not playing percentage football, the Canberra Raiders. The kick was on. OK, Daly, Stewart had a bit of pressure on him, but he had time to get the kick away. Now, they've got to play percentage football and play the game down in the Steelers territory. Now they find themselves with the Steelers up inside their half.
And this is Russell. Russell, 10 metres inside the Raiders territory. One tackle to go now. Bolt got the pass to Kissel. Puts in a grubber kick. Will it find touch? It certainly. No.
Well, it's gone out on the full, but we'll wait for referee Annesley to say whether that was a charge down or, in fact, it will be a Steelers put in. In fact, he has. He said, though, so no charge down.
So the scrum goes down midway between the half and the quarter line. It collapses, and the penalty goes to the Steelers.
That's the correct decision there. Had to be a penalty. Look at the Raiders front row getting up there.
You can always tell the last person to get up off the ground. It happens to be the opposition hooker. Okay, we'll go to a break. Scoreline 2-0. Illawarra with a chance to score.
The attack here now. They're about 10 metres out. It's gone to Kessel. He gets a pass back inside to Campbell-Hugh, running straight and hard. Hugh's still going. I think he might be about a metre out, maybe closer. Very close indeed. Bolt in the dummy half. He gives it on to Skip Lenny, who picked it up. In fact, it's been ruled a knock-on.
Just a little knock-on there, Michael.
Well, it went straight over Kissel's head. I think the ball was meant to go to Kissel. The ball, it is very slippery. Let's give our fair due here to Bolt. Bolt tries to clear it quickly. The ball went straight over Kissel's head, and Skip Lenny had to try and half-volley that ball, and he couldn't.
Well, the Raiders come up with that scrum win. It's through O'Sullivan now. Canberra still leading 2-0. Ricky Stewart in a dummy half. Decides to go himself. They've gone the blind. Belchure in a bit of space. In fact, he's in a lot of space, Gary Belchure. He's got Wood now on his inside. Throws the pass. Here's Skip Lenny, and a great tackle from Skip Lenny, but Wood's still going. Well, that was great play from the Raiders. Belchure now gives it on to Stewart. Long ball out to Bradley Clyde, and there's a penalty. In fact, Morrissey's been sent to the sin bin for 5 minutes.
And so he should have. He was way offside. It was a professional foul. And that was a great attack and great run by Gary Belchure. Richard Keeley on the sideline.
It certainly was. I thought he may have thrown that ball a little bit too early. Maybe Gary Belchure didn't see the Illawarra player coming up on the inside to take Matthew Wood out. There's Morrissey. He's in the bin for 5 minutes. And they're warming up on the sideline. Paul Martin, he's just there. There hasn't been any word from the camp yet, but he's just warming up on the sideline.
Well, maybe Gary Belchure threw that ball inside. The word from the training paddock of the Raiders is that Matthew Wood is the fastest player in the Raiders team. So probably Belchure thought, I'll give it to the man who's got all the pace. Unfortunately, that man is Skiffoletti. Boy, he's done some work in defence, Mike.
That was a great work for a second rower, hooker type person, you know.
Well, what is he? He's a hooker, he's a second rower. I think he could play half or 5'8" too.
Certainly. In fact, he's played the state cricket for Queensland in the under-16s with Joe Scuderi. He's just about done everything.
He's a mean table tennis player too, they tell me.
Well, Wood now moving in. Hits it pretty sweetly, looking pretty good off the boot, but it's been waved away by the touch judges. So it's still 2-0 in favour of the White Raiders.
Well, they only just missed.
Well, the Steelers now will bring the ball out for the restart. They've only got 12 men out on the field at the moment. Wishart now takes the drop kick. It's quite a good one too. Down to Meninga. Probably the wrong person to kick it to, and Big Mal winds up. Been tackled there by Bolt, Skipletty and Hugh. Right on halfway. Lowry now. Skipletty and Pinchinelli do the work on him. The Raiders lined out deep. Walters gives it on to Stewart. A cutout goes to Lazarus. He runs straight over the top of Ian Russell. Stewart again with the ball. On to O'Sullivan. Here's the little grubber kick through. Belchure flying after it. And it beats everyone. Daly picks it up magnificently, but it's well tackled. The Raiders pouring the pressure on at the moment. Walters now on to Stewart. He decides he dummies and a long pass out to Wood. He's got no one to beat. Can he get there? He does. Great try. Belchure Wood has scored in the corner. And Canberra Raiders go further ahead.
That's just what they needed.
What a beautiful pass by Ricky Stewart. If that pass didn't go 27 metres, I'll stand
Not
shut
forward.
the bar tonight, because that was a magnificent pass. Just watch it. Stewart summed it up. The Steelers were still offside, trying to come on and watch this pass, virtually from the other side of the field to the other. Magnificent. And Wood, as I said before, he's got pace to burn. A great tackle. It's a great try.
Oh, it's a great try. Look at it on the head-on. Good kick from O'Sullivan, and Belchure did everything right chasing through. Well picked up Daly. Great pick-up given the conditions. And they quickly set themselves. As you said, good work from Stewart here. Drawing defenders, a huge pass.
Locked beautifully into his hands.
And Wood, well, thank you very much. There's no doubting he is certainly not slow indeed. Very quick.
But is that just what the Raiders needed, Mike?
I think so, to pep them up, surely.
You had half a smile on your face before that try. I notice it's gone completely now.
Okay, Richard Keeley will let you call this kick.
Yep, there's been a change in kickers. In fact, Laurie Daly's not too far away from me. In fact, if he falls over, I might jump in and take it myself. Here he goes. He moves in. It's pretty long and high. It looks reasonably good, but it's just waved away to the left there.
He called that so well, didn't he?
Yes, bad luck. Actually, that was an extra good kick, but I suppose no kick's a good one unless it goes between the sticks.
That's right.
Score remains 6-0 in favour of the Canberra Raiders. The only try.
The Steelers were short a man, Morrissey in the sin bin at the moment, and of course the Raiders took full advantage of it and have come up with the 4-pointer. You can't afford to do that sort of thing against a team like Canberra. Now there's Meninga with the ball. He's got to pep them up. The Steelers trying valiantly to get on the board. They haven't been able to do so today. Walters in a dummy half, gives it on to Lance.
I've just got the feeling, Mike, that we might really start to see the Raiders open up now.
And there's Lazarus. Certainly they're caught short on the blind here at the moment, the Steelers.
Here's a kick.
Ricky Stewart, in fact, puts the ball through. It's going for the touch of Smith. Well, there's all sorts of bother there. He didn't know whether to let it roll into touch, pick it up, and when he did touch it, he slipped into touch.
He didn't know whether to slip or slide. He did both, in fact.
Well, he got himself into trouble when the ball was touched as it went through, which meant O'Sullivan, who had chased through early, was onside.
Well, the Raiders with the ball now, and there's the Raiders chant. Getting pretty noisy here. Laurie Daly racing downfield, he's beaten one, but he can't get round Skipletty. They're pouring it on now, the Raiders. Walters gives it on to Stewart. Inside to Meninga. Racing downfield, he gets it to Bradley Clyde. And Clyde tackled about 3 or 4 metres out. Gets up and plays the ball. Walters now on to Coyne, charging at the defence. They're about 2 metres out. The Raiders have got it all to do. They're swinging it right. Goes to Lazarus now. He might score himself. The big man, he's over. That's the try.
Well,
That's
the floodgates
right.
might have opened here, Tony Campbell.
Yes, I think so, Peter. They're really pouring the pressure. That is extreme pressure out there at the present time.
Here it was. Glenn Lazarus wound up from about 10 metres out, and despite the tackle and the attention there of Chris Walsh, he was able to power his way over. Walsh is grimly trying to hang on with the help there of Pinchinelli. But another good try to the Raiders, and that's come within 2 minutes of that try by Matthew Wood.
Almost midway through the second half.
Scoreline now 10-0 in favour of the Raiders. A kick to come. Laurie Daly still with the duties, and so he should be after that last attempted goal. And we've seen a replacement, Richard.
Yep, on the sideline, coming off in 26 is Mark Lowry, and coming on in 40 is Paul Martin for the Raiders.
Paul Martin has pace to burn, just like Matthew Wood, a fresh player, and I'm sure this paddock would have drained the energy of all players. Very slippery, hard to get your footing. Let's go to the kick now. Laurie Daly moves in. It's a shocker. Well, the Raiders just can't put the ball between the sticks. So the scoreline remains here, 10 points to 0 in favour of the Raiders.
15 minutes of play gone in the second half. Canberra 10, Illawarra 0. Canberra in possession on their own 22-metre line. Wallace moves to dummy half. Lance plays the ball. Lazarus, Meninga, rustle up very quickly to go right around the ankles. He's brought down 27 metres out from his own line. Ball is played. Back it goes to Stewart. Hits one of the Illawarra players. And Illawarra back in possession. Here's a chance. Morrissey inside Russell. Russell still going. Brought down about 12 metres out. Russell to play the ball. Bolter's dummy half. Cattle Hugh. 10 metres out. Pressure for the Raiders now. Steelers trying to hit back. Ball is played. Kissel. Piccinelli going for the line, but he kept the ball in play as he was driven over the touchline by Meninga. And this is Smith. And Smith is bundled to the ground. 17 metres out. He'll play the ball. On it goes to Morrissey. Morrissey back on the field. And he gets to within 10 metres of the try line. Morrissey to play the ball. Steelers trying to fight back. Bolt. Russell. A grubber kick through. It's in the in-goal area. But back there to receive it is Fergo. He won't get out of the in-goal area, though. Good defence by the Steelers.
I'm certainly glad he didn't decide to pass it. Then he dummied. Oh dear,
I thought he was going to pass it too.
So play will restart with a goal line dropout, and the touch judge is coming on. Looks like another replacement for the Steelers. Richard?
That's right. It looks as though number 12, Dean Chivaletta, is coming off, and coming on is number 40, Jeff Hardy.
Rightio, Jeff Hardy and Ian Russell both on the field now.
Well, that's a blow. Skiffaletti was by far the Illawarra Steelers' best player, but, well, Ian Russell and Jeff Hardy are a great combination together. They were reserves for this game. They're on the paddock together. Watch them try and work together throughout the match.
Piccinelli 10 metres inside the Raiders' half. He'll play the ball. Bolt. That's Hardy. Hardy 12 metres inside the Raiders' territory in centre field. On it goes to Walsh. Walsh tackled right around the ankles by Bradley Clyde. Ball is played. Cattle Hugh. Hugh gets to within about 28 metres of the try line. Bolt. Kissel. On it goes to Wishart. 25 metres out. The last tackle. Little kick through. Regathered by Stewart. This is Stewart back up towards his 22-metre line. Stewart to play the ball. 10-0. Raiders lead the Steelers in this final swan song at Seaford Oval. Wood. Ferguson over halfway. Still going, Ferguson. But he's brought down midway between the half and the quarter line. Ferguson, good run that time. Plays the ball. Belchure. O'Sullivan. A kick over the top. Goes back down towards the try line. O'Sullivan kicked the ball. Running back there is it. That's a try! A try! Belchure beat after the ball. And there's another try to the Raiders.
Well, good thinking by Chris O'Sullivan on that occasion. He saw the vacant space in the back behind the Illawarra Steelers. Now let's just watch to see if Belcher's onside. Well, you can't really tell from that angle. There goes Belcher. The kick was put through once again by O'Sullivan. Maybe we'll tell from the head on. The try has been given. There was the first kick into empty space. O'Sullivan chases hard. He's managed to kick the ball infield, and Belcher was Johnny on the spot, and that is a try.
Well, the ball eluded Webb. Ebb.
It looked a little... Did he ground that correctly, do you think?
I think he's put downward pressure on the ball, and that's all that's required to score the try. Referee and linesman both had no hesitation in awarding it.
That's great work by Gary Belcher, though. He certainly does know how to sniff out a try. Good backing up. He followed through O'Sullivan, and as good players do, they usually come up with tries after doing that sort of work. And Matthew Wood deciding he'll take the kick for goal this time. He appears right. 14 points to 0, the Raiders lead. Wood now, he's about 10 metres out. 2 or 3 off centre. Moving in, hits it well, straight between the posts. So Canberra are pouring it on now. They lead 16 points to 0 over the Steelers. Well, here it is on the head-on. We might have a look, Pete. Look at it closely. Belcher's the man that we'll see. Good head-on shot here.
Yes, I'd say that's a try. Downward pressure on the ball, that's all that's required. You don't have to grab the ball.
It looked pretty cool and groovy for me, and so too Gary Belcher. Here's Big Meninga.
Most importantly, it's on the scoreboard.
That's exactly right, Richard Keeley. It doesn't matter what we say up here.
And it will be in the paper tomorrow, too.
One interesting thing, Peter, Ivan Henjek, now he played in reserve grade today. He was a match winner in Perth. I'm amazed, and apparently he got injured in reserve grade. To my thinking, if he was good enough to play reserve grade, surely he was good enough to be on the bench for first grade. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, it's got me puzzled why Ivan Henjek is not used in this Canberra Raiders first grade lineup more often. He is a game buster. He virtually has kept them in the race for the final 5, yet the Raiders selectors, unbelievably, opted for Paul Martin to sit by as the fresh reserve rather than Ivan Henjek. Now, I really, you know, with all due respect to reserve grade and President's Cup, it's all about first grade. It doesn't matter if you win the reserve grade competition or the President's Cup competition. It's how your first grade side goes as to how your club goes for the season. So that's my message, and that's my thoughts.
Well, the Steelers with the ball, and in fact, Peter, just as you were talking, Tony Smith looks to be in a bit of trouble, the fullback. He has had hamstring problems, and he's not moving too freely, and perhaps that previous try may have been averted if Smith could have got to it quickly. He's looking a bit like a passenger out there at the moment. But the Steelers now working the ball back. About 14 minutes of play remaining. The Raiders up by 16 points. Goes to Kissel. He kicks for touch. It's in behind Martin. He goes to touch it. Oh, he does a little bit of Dixie-do and ballerina sort of stuff there. Big ball, Martin.
Or was it a pas de deux?
I'm not... Oh, do maybe. Just promenade that corner, girl. Well, certainly the Raiders now. It's a must-win game for them. They're looking pretty good at the moment. Stewart with the ball. Decides he'll go himself.
If I was a putter, I'd have a bet on the Raiders now, Mike, but I'm not a putter.
Just a caller. Lance now. Working the ball over halfway. The Raiders set deep both sides. It's gone right to Stewart. On to Daly. Long ball out to Belcher.
Now, there is a difference between those two, Mike.
Just a slight difference, apparently.
About 25 kilos of muscle.
Look at this.
Well, that could be a mistake from the Steelers. It is. I think it was touched maybe by Martin Ebb.
Let's watch the linesman's ruling. And what does he say? Well, he said something to the referee. We'll wait and see who puts the ball into the scrum.
He's had some great line kicks today, Stewart, hasn't he, eh?
Here's the kick. And, oh, well, you can't tell from that whether he touched it. But the linesman and the referee agree he didn't.
Well, the referee Annesley not happy with that put in. So they'll do it again. The Steelers under pressure. They're in danger territory at the moment. And they're working this scrum at the moment. Kissel gives it on to Ebb. Throws a pass over to Smith.
Good tackle, O'Sullivan.
Hammett now. On to Morrissey. Goes to Wishart. Wishart trying to do his fair share. Very strong.
He's a player I would have liked to have seen a lot more of. Mike, I think he's wasted on the wing.
Yes, maybe closer to the action, but he performed so well in the Panasonic series on the wing for them that they've kept him there ever since. In the first round, Wishart scored a good try against Canberra out here. And that was just pure strength. Well, the Raiders have been caught offside, so Annesley fairly consistent. He's got both sides for that indiscretion. Kissel now will take the kick for touch. There's a lot of talk about Trevor Kissel, whether he will remain with the club. St George are one club very interested in his services for next season. Walsh again brings the ball up, Bolt in a dummy half, goes on to Pincinelli, and he drops the ball. The vital mistake, and the Raiders again turn it into attack, but, well, Stewart, the pass was in front of him.
Just have a look at Daly's face if you can. Daly threw that ball, and as soon as he threw it, he grimaced. There he is. Ricky saying, don't worry about it, Laurie. We're up 16-0. And I think we've got the Steelers by the tail here at Seaford. And I think he's right.
The Steelers with it. There's Fraser Hammett. Came to the Steelers from Lithgow. Ebb now gives it to Pinchinelli on the blind. Pinchinelli now plays it. Here's Bolt going for a little bit of a gallop. Michael Bolt certainly leads the life of Riley. An account, a nightclub owner, owns a Porsche and a yacht.
Oh, really?
Unbelievable.
Is he a punter?
Why does he play? He mustn't be a punter if he's got all that. Why does he play first-grade rugby league then, Mike?
Well, just loves the game. The Steelers now with a bit of space. Smith injects himself in the back line. And a good run from them. He was looking for Wishart on the inside. Fritz now under Kissel. Kissel kicks the ball. That looks too deep. In fact, no, it isn't. It's going across field, and Belcher has to hurry to get it. He puts the power down. It's been tackled there by Pinchinelli.
All right, the Raiders now up 16-0. 10 minutes left on the clock in this swan-song game from Seaford Oval. So they bring the ball up. Bradley Clyde, we haven't seen much of him today, but what he's done has been good. Gary Coyne, he's mugged by 3 Illawarra defenders.
2 replacements warming up on the sideline, Peter.
All right, that looks like Perry Smith, and I can't see who the other one is. Richard Keeley.
Yep, on the sideline, Stuart Stanton in 29. He's from the President's Cup side, a centre, and also within Perry Smith, also a centre from the reserve grade side.
Well, it'll be interesting just to see who they replace as they go on, as the ball's kicked back. And a good tackle by Bradley Clyde on Tony Smith. He'll play the ball. Oh, the ball was coughed up there. What's the referee going to rule? It came off the Raiders. Paul Martin, so it's play on. And the tackle there made on Les Morrissey. Steelers struggling to get out of their own territory. Goes to Russell. Russell can't beat the tackle. Replacements for the Raiders still trying to get on the field as it comes across. Running now is Fraser Hammett. He's crunched to the turf by Ricky Stewart, who's had another strong game. A beautiful pass to set up that try by Matthew Wood, which really started the ball rolling for the Raiders. Taken by Belchure. About a metre from the sideline. He's taken by Hardy. Paul Martin, one of his first touches of the ball.
Belcher is just so safe, isn't he, at fullback? He's really money in the bank.
Well, he's really come forward this year. He's always been a great player. That's a terrible pass. Ferguson has to go back to get it, and it's been ruled as a knock on. So we'll go to a break now as the scrum's put down. Okay, well, we've just seen a scrum win to the Illawarra Steelers, but the ball's being put down, and it's the Raiders in possession. 2 replacements on now for the Raiders. Laurie Daly and Matthew Wood are off the paddock. Ricky Stewart looked for a winger, but there wasn't a winger out there, so he had to go himself. Stuart Stanton and Perry Smith are the new players. Perry Smith's first taste of first-grade football, former Manly rugby union player last season, very powerfully built player. Laurie Daly getting a good round of applause as he comes off the field with Matthew Wood. Down the blind side, O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan nowhere to go. He manages to get it away to Belcher, though. And Belcher goes straight down the middle, and Walters has got it. Walters is in clear space, but he's been called back as Meninga came up on the outside of him. Ball went forward, according to referee Annesley.
Marginally.
Tony Campbell says marginally. I'll go along with it. One of the better referees. Okay, Richard Keeley's got Laurie Daly on the sideline now.
Laurie, you've just come off another slow start for the Raiders.
Yeah, we've been starting pretty slowly in the last couple of weeks. I think we've got to work on it a bit. But Illawarra put up a great defensive effort, and we found it hard getting out of our own territory, so full marks to them.
Right, it's another hurdle you've got over. Next week, St George, they won't be any easy beats by any means.
No, they won't. You know, we've got to pick up our game 100%. But the effort was there. We're just got to get the execution right, and, you know, I'm sure we can do that leading up to the semis.
Right, mate, you look like you need a shower, so I'll let you go.
Thanks a lot, Richie.
His mum's going to be upset with him when he gets home.
I hope she's got a whirlpool, mate.
Okay, well, the Illawarra Steelers aren't done with yet, as we see Wishart, that power of this player. He's only young, but he's got plenty of power. Morrissey searching for a try against his old club. It's the 5th tackle. Can the Steelers break through the Raiders' defence? Goes to Kissel. Kissel puts it on the toe, but the ball's saved by O'Sullivan. And O'Sullivan will play the ball back to Bradley Clyde, only a few metres out from his own try line. Clyde runs across field, but it's a good gain of about 10 metres. Only about 5 minutes left in the match. 16 points to 0. The Canberra Raiders, they've got this one in the bag. They only have to now beat St George next week to make it into the final 5. Whether it's going to be 4th, 5th or 3rd, you're going to have to wait till 5 o'clock next Sunday night to find out. But they certainly got the pressure on the other sides, trying to get into the top 5. As Glenn Lazarus runs hard and strong, and Lazarus is right through, tries to get the ball away, but the ball went low to Walters and he dropped it. Comes out now. This is Dale Fritz. Fritz goes across field. He's taken by Martin with the help of O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan's had a strong game for the Raiders. Pass to Russell. Kissel. Hammett. Cut out pass to no one. Finally scooped up by Wishart. Goes through the first tackle, Wishart. But Ferguson's got him wrapped up on the 22. Hardy. Russell. Russell's taken in good defence. Midfield. Down the blind side. Cavill Hugh. Pinchinelli. And offside the Raiders.
We're inside the final 5, Peter. And I'd say this is a win for the Raiders. Here's a chance. Hardy. Hardy has scored.
Well, just as you said, it's a win for the Raiders. We see Illawarra Steelers come up with a try, but I think it's far too late to make any difference here at Seaford Oval.
The consolation try.
Certainly a soft try there, Tony. Pinchinelli did well. He's been in good form in recent weeks. Got that one away to Hardy. Well, it was, as I said, a soft try. We probably expect the Raiders to relax a little bit at this stage of the game. On the head on here. Good backing up from the Academy of Sport Rugby League coach, Jeff Hardy, and away we go.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's about 3 minutes left, and it'll be interesting to see what the crowd do when the full-time siren sounds here. I'd say they'll give a good round of applause.
As long as they don't burn the grandstand down, because we're on top.
Wait till we get off at first.
Another replacement to Gary Coyne, the hard-working second rower, who in fact he played prop today, is coming off. His replacement is 36, Darren Fritz.
Thank you, Richard.
So we've got 2 Fritzes on the field. Dale and Darren.
Righto, here's Rod Wishart now. He'll attempt to convert that try, scored by Hardy. There's only about 2.5 minutes of play left in this game. The swan song at Seaford Oval as Wishart moves in. It's not a bad looking kick. It's another 2 points. Canberra 16, Illawarra 6. And a shade over 2 minutes of play left in this match. So play will restart from the centre of the halfway line.
Well, Mike O'Dwyer, while we can say the Raiders had this match wrapped up, they're important points against them too, because in this race for positions in the final 5, points for and against can account a lot.
Exactly, particularly when if there's a playoff situation, that sort of thing. And I think Tim Sheens would have said to them, don't let them score any points. And unfortunately, they just let a soft try like that go in.
Illawarra in possession inside their own quarter. Cavill Hugh, he's had a good game. Hugh, he's tried all day long. On it goes to Kissel. Smith brought down. That's one of the replacement players, number 17. That is
Perry Smith.
Perry Smith, right. Illawarra in possession on their 22-metre line. The ball was knocked on, says referee Annesley, and a scrum to take down over on the hill side of the field. Well, the crowd, with over 6,000, they're staying here for the end of this match because they realise it's the last time they will see the Raiders play in a match here at Seaford Oval. Stewart, Meninga, on it goes to Belchure, and Belchure brought down 9 metres inside his own, the Steelers' half. That's where he'll play the ball. Right in centre field, Mal Meninga dummy half. Stuart Stanton, the youngster, has a run. Gains about 7 or 8 metres. He's brought down 30 metres out from the line. Stanton to play the ball. Meninga. Ricky Stewart, brought down by Hammond.
This is pedestrian stuff now from the Raiders.
They realise they've got it won, Peter. Here's a bit of a run by Lazarus down the blind side. Gets to within about 26 metres of the try line. Can they score 1 before the siren sounds? In a little over a minute from now, this is Bradley Clyde. Clyde brought down, 1 tackle to go. Clyde to play the ball. Walters dummy half. O'Sullivan, a kick through. There's a race for the ball. Smith gets there. And Smith will play the ball about a metre or so out from his try line. The ball to be played. Piccinelli tackle. 3 or 4 metres out. Time almost up. On it goes now. Steelers running the ball out. They're about 10 metres out now, and the ball to be played. Bolt is dummy half. There's Morrissey, and Morrissey offloads the pass. Piccinelli now. Piccinelli brought down by Stanton. 16 points to 6, and we'll hear that full-time siren any moment now. The ball is kicked through, back to the halfway line, taken by Gary Belchure. A long pass out to Ferguson. Now, can Fergo score the last try at Seaford Oval? No, he can't. Midway between the half and the quarter line. On it goes, Meninga. Stewart. O'Sullivan, one of the original Raiders. On it goes to Smith. Smith almost through a gap, but he's tackled. There it is. It's all over. Canberra 16 have beaten Illawarra 6 in the last match at Seaford Oval.
And we'll be back after this short break to wrap up the game, and a great victory to the Canberra Raiders. Well, welcome back to Seaford Oval, and of course we're not going to see the Raiders back on the turf here. They're off to Bruce Stadium next year, but what a fitting way to leave Queanbeyan. And of course a 16-6 win means they're still in the race for the final 5. They left us with some great tries. This is the try we selected as a State Bank Try of the Month.
Stewart again with the ball. Londo O'Sullivan. Here's the little grubber kick through. Belchure flying after it. And it beats everyone. Daly picks it up magnificently, but it's well tackled. The Raiders pouring the pressure on at the moment. Walters now on to Stewart. He decides he dummies and a long pass out to Wood. He's got no one to beat. Can he get there? He does. Great try.
What a great try, and what a great pass from Ricky Stewart to set that try up for Matthew Wood, Tony.
Certainly was, Peter. It was a great game, wasn't it?
It certainly was a good game, and such a vital win. Let's have a look at the point scorers now. 16 points to 6 was the final score. Matthew Wood kicked a penalty goal and a goal. Matthew Wood also scored a try. Glenn Lazarus scored a try, and Gary Belchure scored a try for the Canberra Raiders. For Illawarra, Jeff Hardy scored a try, and Rod Wishart kicked the goal. 16 points to 6. And as I said before, it really keeps them in the race now for the final 5.
Certainly does. It was a fairly slow start to the match, but they really got their act together in the second half, and I thought that Chris O'Sullivan had a great game for his last game here at Seaford.
Well, talking about Chris O'Sullivan, he's got some fond memories. He spoke to Richard Keeley immediately after the game to rekindle some of those.
Okay, Chris O'Sullivan, a swan song here at Seaford Oval. You've been here since day one, and another win for the Raiders.
Yeah, it's a great way to leave Seaford. Yeah, we'll win. We come out here, we struggled a bit first half, but the slippery conditions, you know, we come in 2 points up at half time, and the team wasn't concerned. We just thought we'd shift our kicking game into gear and a good chasing game with the second half, and wait for the breaks to come.
Right, Chris, you've been here since day one. Is there one particular game that sticks in your mind?
Probably the first win against Newtown. Yeah,
12-11.
That's right. Yeah, I scored the winning try. I just happened to come on as a replacement in that game and jumped over and scored a try in the scoreboard corner.
It was like the Raiders winning a grand final back in those days.
Oh, you're not wrong. Yeah, it was a great win, and it's been our first. Of course, we certainly celebrated.
All right, good luck. Another great game today, and good luck next week against St George.
Thanks very much, Richard.
Well, Chris O'Sullivan, certainly a happy player. Fond memories, as I said, about Seaford Oval here. Maybe he might have some fond memories in '89 if the Raiders can go all the way. What do you think, Mike O'Dwyer?
Well, certainly they're a chance. They're one of the teams vying for the premiership. They played well today. It was a good hit out against Illawarra. They're a side that took it up to them today, and as semi-finals approaching, that sort of defence will be evident, and the Raiders played very well. I was quite impressed.
Would you say Chris O'Sullivan your man of the match?
Yeah, I think so. It's good to see O'Sullivan play the way he did today, and good also to see Belchure and Lazarus. I was impressed there too. Lance went well, so they're getting it right at the right time.
Okay, well, I was impressed with the Raiders here today at Seaford Oval. As we said, it was their swan song. From the Capital Television crew, they've enjoyed bringing you all the action from Seaford Oval. We've had some blizzard-like conditions to put up with here at Seaford, but all along we've enjoyed the action and warmed to the play of the Canberra Raiders. Can they go all the way to the grand final? Stay with us to find out.
Weekday
Weekday afternoons are definitely more than just talk. At midday, join us for the movie matinee featuring stars including Grace Kelly, Bing Crosby, Henry Fonda, Glenn Ford, and many more. Then sit back and be informed with Phil Donahue as he presents an hour of topical and sometimes controversial entertainment. Then at 3 o'clock, there's the glamour and intrigue of the bold and the beautiful. A great time entertainment, weekday afternoons on Capital. Coming up next, USA Today Weekend Edition.